They say age brings wisdom, but it should also bring better choices, especially in the kitchen. If you're still reaching for the same bottle of vegetable oil at 65, 70, or even beyond, it's time to pause. Not because you've done something wrong, but because there may be a better, tastier, and life-saving way to nourish your heart every single day. Many elderly reflections on health begin not at the hospital, but right at the dinner table. The oils we cook with can either be silent healers or slow poisons. Research across Europe and North America shows that certain commonly used oils may increase inflammation, spike cholesterol, and raise the risk of heart disease, especially dangerous after 60, when the body's ability to recover weakens. But here's the good news. You don't need to give up flavor to protect your heart. In fact, today we'll explore 7 delicious heart-healthy oils that not only support senior health and longevity, but might actually save your life. Each one has its own story, and I'll share real-life examples of elderly individuals who transformed their health simply by changing what they cook with. Before we dive in, remember, if you're interested in more inspiration, life lessons from the elderly, and senior motivation like this, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any of our upcoming stories here on Elderly Reflections. Some people say that aging is just a slow surrender, but for others, it's a decision, a quiet act of rebellion made every time you choose what's on your plate. It begins in the kitchen. Always the kitchen. That's where Maria Esteban stood, one cloudy morning in Seville, staring at a half-used bottle of vegetable oil. It had been sitting there on her shelf for years, unchallenged, easy, familiar, just like many habits she had kept after 60, not because they were good, but because change always seemed too late. But that morning felt different. Maybe it was the heaviness in her chest after a short walk. Maybe it was the trembling in her hands as she lifted her teacup. Or maybe it was the quiet ache that no test result could measure, the fear of losing herself, of watching her strength fade away like a watercolor left out in the rain. "I was scared," she later said, "not of dying, but of living like I didn't matter anymore." And that moment, that single morning in front of a bottle of oil, became the beginning of her return. You see, Maria wasn't alone. Across Europe and North America, thousands of seniors like her are discovering something doctors in the Mediterranean have known for decades. Not all fats are created equal, and some, notably one, can save your life. In Maria's case, it began with switching from the convenient vegetable oil she had always used to what her grandmother once swore by, extra virgin olive oil. And here's what happened next. Not all miracles arrive in white coats. Some arrive in dark green bottles with golden caps and labels you can't pronounce. Extra virgin olive oil, often described as liquid gold, isn't just a tradition in countries like Greece, Italy, and Spain. It's a lifeline. For seniors above 65, its benefits are more than anecdotal. They're deeply rooted in science. A large-scale study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology followed over 90,000 people for nearly 30 years. Those who consumed just half a tablespoon of olive oil daily reduced their risk of cardiovascular disease by 14% and coronary heart disease by 18%. What's more, other research shows that olive oil supports the elasticity of arteries, reduces inflammation, and protects against oxidative stress, 3 key culprits behind strokes, heart attacks, and high blood pressure in the elderly. That's not just theory, it's survival. What's inside this oil matters. Monounsaturated fats that lower bad LDL cholesterol and support the good HDL, antioxidants like oleuropein and hydroxytyrosol, which fight free radicals in the bloodstream, and anti-inflammatory compounds that soothe arterial walls, often inflamed in those over 60. But beyond numbers and chemistry, there's something even more important: the feeling it brings. That warm, grounded satisfaction in knowing you're giving your heart what it actually needs. And for Maria, it was just the beginning. "I used to take those stairs like nothing," she said, pointing at the 11 uneven steps leading to her bedroom. But by the time Maria turned 71, even walking her small dog loose became a chore. Her doctor's diagnosis wasn't surprising: rising blood pressure, Elevated cholesterol, early signs of vascular strain. The usual, he said. Normal for her age. But Maria didn't want to be normal. She wanted to stay free. When she shared her fears with her daughter Clara, the answer didn't come from a medicine cabinet. It came from Clara's husband, a nutritionist. He looked through my pantry, Maria recalled, and picked up that old bottle. He said, "This right here, this is part of the problem." So they made a pact. For 90 days, Maria would ditch all processed cooking oils and switch completely to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. Not just in cooking, but on everything. On toast instead of butter, drizzled over steamed vegetables, mixed into yogurt with lemon and herbs, a spoonful every morning, raw, like medicine. She also swapped fried empanadas for baked ones, started roasting tomatoes instead of pan-frying them, and most importantly, she wanted to feel better. Within weeks, something shifted. First, her digestion improved, then her sleep. By the end of month 2, her blood pressure had dropped by nearly 12 points. But what moved her the most wasn't a number. "It was when I climbed the stairs again," she whispered, eyes welling. "No pain, no stops. I felt like I had a second chance. The elderly body doesn't bounce back the way it used to. By 65, the heart pumps slower, the arteries stiffen, and the risk of stroke doubles every decade. Add poor quality fats into that system, like those found in generic vegetable oils, and you're pouring fuel on a fire. In contrast, olive oil becomes your firefighter. It doesn't clog, it cleans, it doesn't spike, it stabilizes, it doesn't inflame, it soothes. 1 tablespoon a day can improve circulatory function, blood pressure regulation, brain clarity, and even bone density, which is crucial in reducing fall risk after 70. And there's the taste. Unlike bland vegetable oils, olive oil brings warmth and richness to any meal. From a drizzle over grilled fish to a light toss in quinoa salads, it turns food into medicine and meals into care. If you're over 60 and still using canola, soybean, or corn oil, it's not too late to change. Start by replacing just 1 cooking oil in your pantry. Choose a cold-pressed, dark glass bottled extra virgin olive oil, preferably from Spain, Italy, or Greece. Look for a harvest date within the past year. Use it raw when possible. Add to smoothies for creaminess and heart health. Swirl into soups just before serving. Mix into yogurt for savory dips, or combine with balsamic vinegar for a quick dressing. If you're cooking with heat above medium, like stir-frying, keep a secondary oil like avocado or grapeseed nearby. But for everything else, let olive oil be your daily companion. As the elderly reflections of those like Maria remind us, the smallest changes, made consistently, often lead to the most powerful outcomes. And perhaps the most beautiful part? You're not just adding years to life, you're adding life to years. George Nielsen had never been the type to believe in food fads. An engineer for over 40 years, he was practical, measured, and not easily swayed by headlines. "If it doesn't come with numbers, I don't trust it," he often told his friends. But by the time he turned 73, numbers were the very thing he could no longer ignore, particularly the ones on his medical chart. His cholesterol had crept past the safe zone. His knees ached after a short walk. His energy dipped around 11 a.m. every morning, no matter how well he slept. His doctor called it age-related inflammation. George called it unacceptable. "I spent my whole life building things that lasted. Why shouldn't my body be one of them?" he asked. That question led him to research, not just articles, but scientific journals, medical studies, and elderly reflections from Blue Zone communities. Over and over, one strange oil kept coming up, especially among Scandinavian and German longevity studies: walnut oil. Unlike the oils he was used to, vegetable, canola, and sometimes butter, walnut oil was rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that the body converts into EPA and DHA, both known for reducing inflammation. It also contained polyphenols, vitamin E, and melatonin, compounds shown to support heart function, joint health, and sleep regulation. One study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who consumed walnut oil regularly experienced a 10% reduction in LDL cholesterol and improvements in endothelial function, a key factor in preventing atherosclerosis. But what intrigued George most wasn't the science. It was a conversation he had with a retired teacher named Leif, whom he met at a coffee gathering in Aarhus. Leif was 79, walked with a bounce in his step, and had just returned from hiking in the Bavarian Alps. "I put walnut oil in my oatmeal every morning," he said with a grin. "Tastes like roasted comfort and keeps my joints from squeaking." That was enough for George. He began small, just a teaspoon of walnut oil in his morning yogurt. The flavor surprised him, nutty, rich, almost earthy. He started drizzling it over steamed greens, adding it to cooked quinoa, even blending it into a simple dressing with lemon and mustard. Within 3 weeks, something shifted. The soreness in his knees lessened. His walks became longer. By week 6, his doctor noticed his LDL cholesterol had dropped significantly. And more importantly, George felt clearer, mentally sharper, less fatigued, and more optimistic. "I didn't feel young," he said, "but I felt capable again." That was enough. Unlike many other oils, walnut oil isn't suited for high heat cooking. It loses its nutritional value when exposed to high temperatures, so George kept it cold. Always raw, always thoughtful. He began recommending it to his friends, especially those with arthritis or borderline blood sugar. One of them, Inga, a 68-year-old artist, added it to her lunchtime soups. "I used to get brain fog after eating," she shared. "Now, I feel focused through the afternoon. My sketches have more energy too." They weren't trying to turn back time, they were just trying to make the most of what they had. And walnut oil, it seemed, was part of that quiet rebellion against decline. For seniors after 65, the risks of inflammation-related illnesses climb steadily. Heart disease, cognitive decline, and joint disorders often stem from chronic, low-grade inflammation that goes unnoticed until damage is done. Traditional vegetable oils, especially those high in omega-6 fatty acids like soybean or corn oil, can worsen this imbalance, tipping the scale in favor of inflammation. Walnut oil, by contrast, brings it back into balance. It has one of the best omega-3 to omega-6 ratios among plant oils. It supports vascular flexibility, which means your heart doesn't have to work as hard. It nourishes the synovial fluid between your joints, making movement less painful, and it contains ellagic acid, a powerful antioxidant that protects cells from age-related degeneration. But beyond all the science, what makes walnut oil special is how it feels in daily life. It's comforting, familiar, yet new. A reminder that your health doesn't have to be bland or boring. It can be rich, aromatic, and deeply satisfying. George now keeps 2 bottles of oil in his kitchen, extra virgin olive oil for cooking, and walnut oil for nourishment. He doesn't miss his old habits. He doesn't miss the way he used to feel. He once said, "It's funny how a nut can make you feel whole again." If you're over 60 and wondering how to make a meaningful shift in your health without overhauling everything, this might be your next small step. Use walnut oil in raw applications only. Mix a spoonful into warm oatmeal after it's cooked, blend it into smoothies, drizzle over lentils or steamed broccoli, or whisk into vinaigrettes. Keep it in the fridge, in a dark bottle, and use within 3 months to preserve freshness. And most importantly, use it regularly. Not once in a while, but every day. That's where the magic happens. After olive oil and walnut oil had transformed the lives of Maria and George, it became clear that healthy fats could be more than fuel. They could be tools for reclaiming life. But for other seniors, the question was more personal. What if I'm not just tired, but foggy? What if my joints don't just ache, but lock? What if food no longer brings joy? That's where the next 3 oils come in. Each one answers a different question. Each one tells a different story. Let's start in Lyon, France, with Colette Bernard, a 68-year-old former opera singer who retired early after a minor stroke and increasing episodes of memory lapses. I would walk into the kitchen and forget why I was there, she recalled. And sometimes, I forgot the lyrics to songs I had sung for 30 years. Her neurologist didn't recommend medication, not yet. Instead, he suggested something that seemed almost laughably simple. Start incorporating flaxseed oil into your daily routine. Flaxseed oil, derived from cold-pressed flax seeds, is one of the richest plant sources of ALA omega-3. While similar to walnut oil in that regard, flaxseed oil contains higher concentrations of lignans, antioxidants shown to support brain function, hormone balance, and even reduce the risk of breast cancer in older women. Colette hesitated, but she was willing to try. Every morning, she began adding a teaspoon of flaxseed oil to her yogurt with blueberries or blending it into a smoothie with banana and cinnamon. She also poured a spoon over lentils and cooked quinoa, never heated, always raw. Within weeks, something shifted. Her mood lifted first. I laughed more, she said. Little things felt brighter. Then her clarity returned. Slowly, the fog began to lift. And by the end of 3 months, she could recall full verses of old arias. She returned to teaching part-time. It didn't just feed my brain, she smiled. It brought music back to my life. Not far from there, in rural Austria, lived Ernst Wimmer, 77, a retired clockmaker known for his precision, both in his craft and his routines. But after a fall during winter left him with hip inflammation and stubborn joint stiffness, Ernst struggled to enjoy even his daily morning walk. I felt like my bones were grinding, he said. After rejecting painkillers due to stomach sensitivity, Ernst found an old folk remedy from his father's notebook, pumpkin seed oil. Native to parts of Central Europe, especially Austria and Slovenia, pumpkin seed oil has long been used for prostate health, joint function, and even hair loss. But modern research supports its efficacy. It contains phytosterols, zinc, and anti-inflammatory fatty acids, making it particularly helpful for seniors with joint degeneration or hormonal imbalance. Ernst added a tablespoon of pumpkin seed oil to his dinner salad every night, often pairing it with apple cider vinegar and crushed garlic. Its dark green color and nutty taste surprised him, but within a month, the stiffness began to loosen. I don't walk fast, he admitted, but I walk far again, and that's enough. Today, he still oils his old wooden clocks, but more importantly, he oils his joints from the inside, one spoonful at a time. Our final story in this chapter comes from Michigan, USA, where 70-year-old Linda Foster, a retired nurse and breast cancer survivor, found herself in a new kind of emotional slump. I wasn't depressed, she said, but I wasn't joyful either. Everything felt flat. She ate well, exercised, and meditated, but it wasn't until her integrative doctor suggested trying avocado oil that she noticed something change. Rich in monounsaturated fats, lutein, and fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, avocado oil is especially supportive of nutrient absorption, eye health, and mood regulation in seniors. Unlike flax or walnut oil, avocado oil is heat-stable, making it excellent for cooking, especially for those who enjoy warm meals but want to avoid inflammatory seed oils. Linda began sautéing her vegetables in avocado oil, using it in omelets and roasting sweet potatoes with it. Within weeks, not only did her digestion improve, but she also noticed her energy returning and her skin regaining a soft glow. It felt like someone turned the lights back on, she said. I didn't know food could do that. She now calls avocado oil her sunshine fat. These 3 stories, Colette's mind, Ernst's joints, and Linda's light, remind us that there's no one-size-fits-all answer after 60. What your body needs may be as unique as your fingerprints, but these oils offer powerful options. Flaxseed oil for clarity, hormones, and memory. Pumpkin seed oil for joints, prostate, and mobility. Avocado oil for cooking, absorption, and emotional vitality. They're not magic, they're nourishment. And in the hands of someone who listens to their body, they become a quiet kind of medicine, the kind you feel, not just measure. For seniors looking to take back control of their health, start here. Choose one oil. Try it daily for 3 weeks. Observe, adjust, stay curious. Let your own elderly wisdom guide you. Because like Maria, George, Colette, Ernst, and Linda, your body still remembers how to feel alive. It just needs the right kind of fuel. If you've made it this far, you've already heard stories of regained strength, improved memory, and quiet joy, all sparked by something as simple as the oils we choose each day. But for some seniors, the struggle is deeper. It's not just the body that hurts. It's the nervous system, the anxiety, the lack of focus, or the feeling of being out of sync with life. For them, healing requires not just heart-healthy fats, but calming, grounding, nervous system supporting nourishment. That's where the final 2 oils in our journey come in. The first is hemp seed oil, and the story belongs to David Cole, a 69-year-old retired firefighter from British Columbia, Canada. David had spent 3 decades responding to emergencies, but in retirement, he found himself struggling with a different kind of fire: chronic anxiety, muscle tension, and erratic sleep. It was like my body didn't know how to come down from the adrenaline, he said. Though he practiced breathing exercises and walked every day, the internal restlessness remained. On the advice of a naturopathic doctor, he began taking 1 tablespoon of cold-pressed hemp seed oil each morning, stirred into warm lemon water or drizzled over oats. Unlike CBD oil, hemp seed oil contains no cannabinoids or psychoactive compounds. What it does contain is an ideal 3.1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids, along with gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, a rare anti-inflammatory fat known for supporting hormonal balance, skin health, and most importantly, nerve function. Within 2 weeks, David noticed a softening. It was like the volume knob in my brain turned down, he described. His muscles relaxed. He stopped waking up at 3 a.m., gasping for breath. And most touchingly, he was able to sit through an entire evening with his granddaughter, reading quietly, without needing to pace. I didn't feel sedated, he said. I felt still, and for me, that was a miracle. The last oil in our series may be the least known, but perhaps the most powerful in stabilizing blood sugar, boosting metabolic health, and supporting hormonal function, especially in seniors battling pre-diabetes or postmenopausal fatigue. It's black seed oil, and it changed the life of Sylvia Martinez, a 66-year-old bakery owner in New Mexico. Sylvia had always lived on her feet, kneading dough, greeting customers, running from morning to night. But after 60, her energy dipped dangerously. She felt heavy in the mornings. Her doctor warned of creeping insulin resistance. It was like my body wasn't processing life anymore, she said. Black seed oil, known in ancient texts as the seed that cures everything but death, is pressed from Nigella sativa and rich in thymoquinone, a compound with powerful antioxidant and anti-diabetic properties. Sylvia was hesitant. Its taste is strong, peppery, almost bitter, but she committed. She began with 1-2 teaspoons in warm water every morning, then added a few drops to her lemon vinaigrette at lunch. Within a month, she lost 6 pounds without trying, her blood sugar stabilized, and most importantly, her energy came back. I stopped yawning at 10 a.m. I baked longer. I laughed more, she said. She now refers to her black seed oil as her internal engine oil. It didn't fix everything, but it gave her momentum again. These final 2 oils, hemp seed and black seed, don't just nourish the body. They stabilize it. They calm. They regulate. They help seniors move from a place of tension and chaos to one of rhythm and restoration. Together, they complete the picture we've been painting throughout this journey of older adults not just surviving, but reclaiming their independence, managing their symptoms naturally, and restoring a sense of control through daily, conscious nourishment. You don't need to take all 7 oils. Just one may be the shift your body is waiting for. But now, you know them all. You know the stories. And maybe, just maybe, you're ready to become the next one. At this point in life, the world often tells us to slow down, expect less, stay quiet. But if these 7 stories have taught us anything, it's that healing doesn't retire. It doesn't age out. It waits for your attention, for your courage, for one simple choice made in your kitchen on an ordinary day. From Maria in Spain, who found her legs again with olive oil, to George in Denmark, who eased his aching knees with walnut oil, to Colette, Ernst, and Linda, who lit up their minds and moods with flaxseed, pumpkin seed, and avocado oils, and finally to David and Sylvia, who quieted their nerves and restarted their inner engines with hemp and black seed oil. This journey has never really been about oils. It's been about the people, about you. The senior who still wants clarity, the retiree who's tired of pain, the grandmother who wants to stay strong for the grandkids, the man who quietly wonders if this is just how life will be now. To all of you, we say this: you are not too old to feel better. You are not too late to feel alive. Your body may have changed, but it still responds to care, still remembers how to heal when you offer it something real. These oils, simple, accessible, ancient, are more than ingredients. They are invitations to start small, to listen inward, to trade resignation for routine, and perhaps most of all, to realize this season of life doesn't have to be about holding on. It can be about opening up to new energy, new calm, new control over how you feel, how you live, and how you show up in the world each day. So before you go, I have one question for you. Where are you watching from? Is it a quiet kitchen in Canada, a warm room in Greece, a porch in Texas with a cup of tea by your side? Tell us below. Your reflection matters here. And if this video touched something in you, if it made you pause, made you breathe a little deeper, maybe even feel a little stronger, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone you love. Because chances are, someone else out there is still using the wrong oil, and your story might be the one that helps them change it. From all of us at Elderly Reflections, thank you for being here, for watching, for still believing in your body's quiet wisdom. We'll see you in the next story.